Welcome to Carter's Retro Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing One Must Fall 2097 for the PC. Now, I'm not one to brag, but I've been voted #1 by both of my brothers for having the world's most punchable face. I turned to my second brother and I said to him, is this true? And he said to me, I am doing everything in my power right now not to just bop you one right in the nose. And then I turned to my first brother and he said, can it be both my birthday and Christmas rolled into one if I just get just a shot at your face right now? I said, no, that's, no you can't, sorry. So, without any further ado, here is the review for One Must Fall 2097. One Must Fall 2097 was released on PC in 1994. While the sound and the look of the game might not impress those that have never seen or played this game, believe you me, this game was absolutely mind-blowing and first-rate back in 1994. The family didn't have a computer until 1996, but you better bet that we shelled out $25 for this game. This game is a pure-cut example of doing so much with so little. This game had a sequel which had more development time and required far better specs to run, and the end product was comparatively garbage. It wasn't a bad game in of itself, just when you compared it to a game that came out 9 years prior, it was just unable to recreate the atmosphere even though the gameplay let you have greater freedom. This is not going to be in my usual format because the key element is this game is worth your time, but it does have a few caveats. The first and most obvious is you have to like this genre of game. It's not going to change your mind on its own. Secondly, there are some small tiny glitches both graphically and audibly that are really a non-issue. It's not a part of the bigger overall picture of this game, plus the soundtrack in this game is amazing. Thirdly, the first robot you get in this tournament, the Jaguar, is the best robot by far, which makes it really hard to sell and get something else. You could argue that since it's the first one, it's the one that you're more accustomed to and you get to learn its strengths and weaknesses. But quite frankly, it has very few weaknesses, and none of the other robots ever improve upon them. It has amazing speed, a hard enough hit, and it has decent distance. Thorn is too slow, Shredder's reach is about 2 inches in front of him, Shadow's moves are too slow and leave him vulnerable, Gargoyle is... Gargoyle is a hot mess, Katana is... it's pretty meh. Flail, while being short, has super shit super moves, with ELECTRA, Pyros and Nova being the only ones who come close as any kind of competition to Jaguar, and even then, I don't think any of them are better fighters. They might look cooler, but that's about it. Fourthly, AI is pretty garbage. Even when you put it up on much harder settings, it can sometimes feel like you didn't win necessarily by a lack of skill, but by luck. And then sometimes when you win through skill, it doesn't feel that much harder than easier settings. It felt like the game just gave you an easy one. Next point, the single player is pretty garbage on default settings. Yes, it allows you to select characters and robots, but on default settings it only requires 6 hits and it's super easy. You have to ramp up the difficulty and how hard everybody does damage to each other. The arenas are memorable and the graphics are good, but the fighting... it's not particularly deep. I could be looking at this game through rose-coloured glasses here, so it's probably worth taking with a pinch of salt. But, even though this game has some obvious problems, it's still an absolute banger. Would I recommend this game? Yeah, it's free, and for some of us, it's a real trip down memory lane. For those who are not brought up with this game, or even alive during its release, it really does give you some good representation of the best the PC could offer during circa 1994 in the fighting genre. And even as a curiosity, it's still worth your time. In the fighting genre. And even